Congress just passed a $900 billion stimulus package. While the fate of the bill is a bit uncertain, we've got the rundown on what it currently includes. This is the Issues Watch podcast. Hi, I'm Jeff Kazerman, Vice President of Government Relations at the New Jersey Society of CPAs, and welcome to episode 61. If you listened to our last episode, you heard me say that we were taking a break for the holidays and would be back with a new episode in January. But there's no rest for the weary. We're bringing you this special episode to talk about what's included in the $900 billion stimulus package that Congress passed on December 21st. Today is December 23rd, and last night, President Trump voiced his displeasure with some of the measures in the bill. Nonetheless, White House observers believe most of the provisions will remain intact. So while it's possible some elements of the bill could be amended, we felt it was important to get you the lowdown as soon as possible. If there are any major changes that take place after today, we'll do another episode quickly to get you those changes. My guest today to talk us through all of this is Travis Miskowitz, a manager in the CFO advisory practice at WIS. Welcome, Travis.
How are you, Jeff? Nice to be here today.
Thank you. The bill provides a number of new relief measures for both individuals and businesses. Let's start with the proposed direct stimulus checks for individuals. What's in the bill as it currently is, and how is President Trump suggesting that it be changed?
Sure. So great question, Jeff. Back when the CARES Act was passed in March or April, most Americans received a direct stimulus payment from the government of $1,200. Included in this new stimulus bill, the $900 billion, there's $166 billion allocated to individuals to receive direct stimulus payments again, this time reduced to $600 per eligible recipient. And there are certain income limitations up to $75,000 per year in annual income. And those direct stimulus payments start to phase out as your income approaches $99,000 per year. So a married couple that makes up to $150,000 per year could expect to receive $1,200 in direct stimulus payments. A family of four could expect to receive $2,400 in direct stimulus payments. The main issue and the wrench that President Trump threw into the negotiations late last night was that he feels $600 per individual is inadequate, and he would like to see that stimulus payment increase to $2,000 per eligible recipient.
Wow, that's a big jump. We'll see what happens with that. So now let's turn to the Paycheck Protection Program. So, many of our members have been anxiously awaiting news about whether business expenses will be deductible. What does the legislation say about that?
Yeah, so this is a pretty comprehensive topic here, the Paycheck Protection Program. And what's great about this new stimulus bill is that there is a fix for the deductibility issue for the first round of PPP loans that were approved starting in April of this year. And it's now become clear that borrowers will be able to receive tax-free loan forgiveness in addition to being able to deduct all expenses paid for with PPP funds. So this is welcome news. We saw there was a revenue ruling and a revenue procedure a few weeks ago that expressly spelled out that borrowers would be unable to deduct those expenses. So included within this new stimulus bill is a fix to allow borrowers to deduct all eligible expenses for loans that were approved in the first PPP round, in addition to a second PPP funding round coming up here.
Okay. As you just mentioned, the bill calls for a round 2 of PPP loans. How will this round differ from the first one?
Sure. So there is $284 billion being earmarked for a second funding round of PPP loans. And so there's two buckets of eligible applicants for PPP2. If you received a loan during the first PPP round, you are eligible for a second loan. But there are certain additional restrictions implemented for these borrowers. So you would have to have 300 or fewer employers, and you would be required to prove a revenue reduction of 25% during any quarter of 2020 compared to the same quarter in the prior year. So it's a little bit of a high threshold for many borrowers to achieve that 25% revenue reduction, but that's for second PPP applicants. If you're a first-time borrower under the PPP program, they are able to have up to 500 employees. The loan amount is capped this round at $2 million per applicant. That's a reduction from $10 million in the first round. And you are able to use your PPP funds for essentially the same expenses, payroll costs and non-payroll costs. And there's the same stipulation that 60% of the PPP funds are required to be spent for payroll costs. And if we remember, payroll costs includes all cash compensation, employer paid health benefits, employer paid retirement benefits, in addition to employer paid state and local taxes. And then on the non-payroll cost side, we have utilities expense, rent expense. And what's nice about this new stimulus bill is that we've included a few additional categories of eligible expenses. Some of the main ones that borrowers will want to be aware of are costs that they've incurred to purchase PPP and other protective equipment to protect their employees in the workplace, in addition to expenses that they've paid to modify their workplace, whether they've installed protective panels or windows in their offices, in addition to being able to pay supplier expenses for any vendors that are essential to your operations. So those are a few nice welcome additions to the eligible expenses for the PPP program.
Okay. This legislation also applies to 501c6s, right?
Yes, correct. That was a nice addition to the second round of PPP loans, and they will have a 150 employee restriction to be eligible to apply for a loan, but they are also invited and welcome to apply for a loan under PPP2.
Okay, so the PPP would treat them with the same rules as anybody else, correct?
Correct. You're going to determine your average monthly payroll. You'll be using your 2019 payroll to determine that amount, and the loan will be determined by a 2.5 times multiplier, similar to the first round of PPP.
Okay. Putting aside the direct payments to individuals, are there any other significant tax provisions in the bill?
Yeah, sure. So there's a few additional provisions. One of them is being referred to as the 3 martini lunch, which allows businesses to deduct in full any business meals incurred in their normal course of business. This provision is being extended through 2022, and it's a welcome benefit to hopefully jumpstart the ailing hospitality and service industry. Additionally, there's been some reductions to excise taxes, specifically the distillery and craft brewery industry. They were pretty nervous that these benefits would be expiring towards the end of this year, but these are extended as well. And additionally, there's an extension of the ERTC, or the Employee Retention Tax Credit, which is being extended out through March 2021. And so the ERTC allows small businesses to maintain their employees' headcount and maintain their payroll.
Okay. In addition to the direct stimulus payments, which we talked about earlier, I understand the bill also would provide more unemployment benefits to individuals. If that's correct, can you tell us about that?
Correct, Jeff. So back in June or July of this year, there was the $600 additional PUA or pandemic unemployment assistance payments that were being paid to individuals that were receiving unemployment benefits. So there was a lot of pushback on this payment. Some felt that employees were receiving and earning more to be unemployed versus being employed. And so that benefit expired back over the summer. But within this bill, there is inclusion of an additional $300 per week for individuals claiming unemployment benefits. And that benefit is expected to last an additional 11 weeks or until at least March 14th of 2021.
Okay, well, that about wraps it up, Travis. Thank you so much for joining us, for providing all of this late breaking and important information. I know we'll all be anxiously awaiting news about whether the bill will be modified or signed by President Trump as is, which I doubt, so that we can see, all of this aid and relief can start being distributed. So again, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Jeff. Happy to be here.
We have several events coming up where you can learn more about PPP rounds 1 and 2 and other elements of the relief package. We have NJCPA member and PPP guru Ed Zollers, who will be presenting a 4-hour deep dive on January 14th. And several of our CPE partners are offering 2 and 3-hour webinars next week. And it will be part of our full day federal tax update seminars on January 19th and 20th. You can access the full schedule of events at njcpa.org/PPP. Our Issues Watch podcast is taking a short break for the holidays. This time, I think I really mean that. But hey, you never know. Watch for our next episode on January 19th. In the meantime, check out NJCPA's new Tech Talk podcast, which will be launching in January. It'll cover various technology issues that impact CPAs. Get a preview at njcpa.org/tech talk. And thanks for listening and happy holidays.